guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Half-Shell Heroes Shellraiser. That's right, the Half-Shell Heroes, it's the new line of TMNT action figures and playsets and vehicles that are geared towards the younger audience, aimed at kids ages 3 and up. Not only are we getting a whole series of cool little minifigures done in this cute kitty style, but we're also getting vehicles. So today we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Half-Shell Heroes version of the Shellraiser. As you can see, the vehicle comes in nice open boxed packaging, so you can fully see the vehicle right there in the box and even kind of mess around with it a little bit. It's very similar packaging to what we see from other lines that are similar, such as Imaginext. You'll notice that it's got those bright, colorful graphics on there, including the artwork of the turtles right there along the top, and you'll even notice that it comes with a pack-in minifigure of Leonardo. And then flipping this over to the back side of the box, not only do we get a look at the vehicle itself, as well as some of the other items available in this Half-Shell Heroes lineup, but we also get a great look at the world that we can build with these new figures and playsets. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the vehicle outside of the packaging. Now this thing pretty much comes out of the box ready to be played with. You don't have to put any stickers on this thing, and there's really no assembly required except for the little disc shooter that attaches to the back. But that just clips right on, and then we're ready to go. So this, my friends, is our Shellraiser. You'll notice it's got a very bright and colorful look to it. It's all kind of molded in the colors that you see here with very little actual paint work done on there. So it's mostly just this very bright, vibrant yellow color. It's got a bright green shell-like roof on the top. And then you'll notice it does have some nice paint work on the front where we've got some silvers, blacks, reds, greens to kind of add a little bit of variance in all the colors there. But it's a very brightly colored vehicle, so it really kind of stands out. A much brighter color than the version we got in the basic action figure line. The style is more based on the version that we see in the Nickelodeon cartoon series as well as the basic action figure line, but it's a little bit different as well. You can see it's kind of got some different aspects of it that are a little pronounced. They're a little more cartoony and a little bit more elaborate, like the cannon sitting on the top and even the barrel on the front. They're just a little bit bigger and more cartoony looking than what we saw in the more realistic looking version that we got in the basic lineup. Also, the colors are a lot more reminiscent of the old Party Wagon on this, rather than the Shellraiser itself. It's got that bright yellow and green color scheme, which was the colors of the original Party Wagon. So I think that's actually kind of cool. It's a neat little nod to the vintage turtle van for all of us adult collectors that might be interested in picking up some of these new turtle toys. Alright, so the vehicle itself is hollow on the inside, and you'll notice that open it up, it's very similar to what we've seen before. You can just lift up the lid there, and on top of that, you can also fold down the door on the right side. So this will allow you to be able to put the figures in through the door on the side, but also open up the top so you can really kind of seat your toys all around on the inside. So this does come with its own Leonardo figure. This version of Leonardo is pretty much exactly the same as the single-packed version. However, this one is not holding on to the katana swords. There's no swords with this one, so he just has his open hands. That way he's ready to drive or fire off the little disc shooter on the back of it. But let's go ahead and get our other turtles here that we've already taken a look at from the single-pack releases, just to show you how you can fit them all on the inside. When you open up the top, you'll notice that there is one peg on the front to stand one of your turtles, like Leonardo, who acts as the driver. And there's a tiny little window on the front, so when you stand him on there, you can look through that front window and you can see his face kind of peeking through perfectly there. Aside from that, there are two seat areas. They're little bucket seats kind of indented in, so you can actually take any of your turtles there, and they fit nice and snug in those little seats. They actually kind of snap in place, which is really nice. But there's still plenty of floor room on the inside, so you can stand all 4 of your turtles in there very easily, and could probably even pack in a couple other figures as well if you want to. So you can really pack this thing up full of your characters, stuff your turtles in there, any of your other heroes like Casey Jones, get them in the Shellraiser, and they're ready to go. You see it's got some really nice wheels, large wheels on the back, short ones on the front. They are just plastic wheels, hard plastic just like the rest of the vehicle, but it rolls very nicely. You can see it's got a great smooth ride to it, especially when you get it on these flat, hard surfaces like a table or harder floor, but should also work really well on carpet as well. Now there's a couple other fun little action features going on with this. There's one of them right there. There's a button on the top. I just kind of pushed it while I was playing with it. So when you press that button, you get some really cool action sounds.
Nice driving.
Nice driving. Some blast from the cannons.
That's turtle power.
Turtle power. Just a lot of fun noises like that for the kids to interact with. On top of that, we've got the trash blaster on the top. That's what they're calling this thing. It's a large red cannon, and as you can see, it just rotates left and right there. It's got this large yellow dial, which is actually a push button, and when you press that button, it fires out a trash ball. Now, you'll notice this is an attached missile. It doesn't actually fly out all the way, so it's not a projectile, not a little round ball. I assume that's kind of a safety thing, not to have too many projectiles on here, so you can easily just push that back in. Push the button again, it just kind of pops out there. And again, you can spin that around any way you want to, so bow, fire your trash balls at the foot. The front of the vehicle has the little barrel, but it's got a fun little feature worked in. It's kind of like the little bumper barrel that's on the other version, but there's a little yellow button on the front, so when you press it, it actually opens and closes it. So it kind of works like a chomper type thing in the front, so that way you can roll up and, you can catch some of the bad guys with the front of the Shellraiser. And flipping this around to the back side, we've got our little disc shooter. Now this is kind of fun, and this actually does have firing projectiles. The little disc shooter's got the ability to just fold down like that, so that way when the vehicle is driving, you can fold it up, they can be on the move. When you're parked, it folds down just like that. You got one foot peg on there, so we can go ahead and take our Leonardo, we can stand him on the foot peg, and that way he's ready to fire off the disc shooter. I think this is really cool because if you're a fan of the Nickelodeon TV series, you've seen recently that they actually do have the pizza thrower attached to the back of the Shellraiser, which is a fun nod in its own. So that's kind of what this reminds me of, but instead of pizzas, it is actually little New York sewer lids is what the discs represent. But you can actually take those little discs, you can just pop them in the shooter there. There's 3 of them included. Then you've got these little red buttons, and when you press the buttons down on the side, it sends your discs flying, and it actually works pretty well. You can see, got a nice little, they kind of hover there, so it's those little like kind of air hovering discs, which is really cool. But these are solid plastics, so definitely something that you just don't want to be careful of. Not round and small. I would assume that's why this is attached, because it's rounder and smaller, probably more of a choking hazard than these are. But it is worth noting that it does have projectiles, so younger kids maybe still want to be aware of that, but this whole set is aimed at kids 3 and up, and it's a really fun looking little vehicle here. So, how about we do this? It's comparison time. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Nick Turtles version of the Shellraiser. This, of course, as I talked about in its original review, doesn't quite look exactly like the one in the current cartoon series, but you can definitely see the differences between this and the Half Shell Heroes version when you look at them side by side here. You'll also notice there's quite a big size difference. So the Shellraiser from the basic line is probably about twice the size as the one from the new Half Shell Heroes line, but of course that would be because this one's for little minifigures and this one's for full-size 5-inch action figures. So really cool to kind of see them side by side, and you can really get an idea of the difference between the two. But overall, I really like this. This is a really fun vehicle. It's durable, it's sturdy, it's got great rolling action, it's got some fun features, it's got the ability to stuff all kinds of these cool little minifigures on the inside, and it's just another fun piece to add to this incredibly cool Half Shell Heroes lineup. I'm really digging this. I've been a big fan of all of these kinds of lines, have recently been really loving stuff like Imaginext, so I think it's really cool to see one of my all-time favorite properties, being the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, get that same treatment. And it's a really great way to get some of the younger fans into these toys that might be still a little too young for the basic line. And hey, us collectors, we can totally appreciate these too. At least I can. So these are hitting store shelves right now. So happy hunting, my friends. And until next time.